Hello, everybody. Let me raise this up a little bit. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are having a great evening. Okay, let me pull up the screen. I hope my moderators are here and that they are welcoming everybody into the live weekly Monday night live chat. I'm happy everybody is here. So all I gotta do is just click on a few more things. And by George, I think I'm here. Today is May 2nd. I'm very happy to be entering into another month. And can you guys hear me okay? Is the sound all right? And is the picture okay? I think I can lower it just a little bit. Think that's better. Showing all of my junk. But it is what it is. Let's see. Brenda Allen is in the house. Thank you. Yankee Sister Homestead is here. Maria Graham, Salon Diva V Home and Garden. Chine Moss Farm is here. Pescatarian Gardener, thank you for being here. Karen Witherspoon, Grandmama Grows, Bobby Wilson, Maria Graham, Robin Smith, Chris White, she's on the road driving that truck. Keep your eyes on the road, Chris. I just love you for just listening to us when you have opportunity. Mwah. Thank you so much. I blew you a kiss. My Renaissance Grandma is in the house. I think I spoke to Barb Brownlee. If I didn't, thank you for being here. Miss Ellen Pankey, one of our lovely golden girls. And the name of her channel is Garden Quilts and Art Traditions. Lion Crest Outdoor Gardening. Thank you for being here, Farmer Q. And everybody's saying I'm sounding okay. Dolores Grimes, Myra McCain. Thank you, Myra, for being here. And Cassandra Dominic, Teresa Brown. And I think I might have said Compton Creations. Sometimes if you have visited my channel and you've left a comment and I'm responding to your comment, it makes your name real familiar, and you know, sometimes I get a little confused that it's not your comment that makes me know you're here, is you're actually in the chat, live chat. Maria Graham, I spoke to her. My YouTube daughter, Miss Kia Parks, is here. And P. McGee says, hello, everyone. Okay, now, let's go to my file. And right off the top, I'm just going to tell you that my unofficial COO, my oldest son, keeps going over my business plan and my schedule to allow me to get more work done, but also for me to get more rest. And he told me that he liked the way the numbers looked when I did, instead of the Monday night special, I did the special for the week. He said, Mama, I think you should go now with the special for the month. That way, in your spare time, you can start making those up and you won't be rushing so much at the last minute. And he's right, and he edited my website, and it's up. So it'll be on until May 30th, that morning. And then there will be a new special for the month of June that will go on May 30th in the evening. And that special is the real creamy, luxurious lotion that I make that has a lot of shea butter in it. I don't know if I've got the percentage of the shea butter. I'll just tell you off the top of my head, it's between 30 and 40% shea butter. And the normal price of that 8-ounce real creamy emollient moisturizing lotion is 8 ounces for $26, and it's on sale for until May 30th for $19.99. This is not your regular lotion. This lotion has vegetable glycerin, hardly any water, if any water at all. Because when I pull up my formulas and start making another batch, what I do is I go to my external hard drive and pull everything up and measure it exact. And it has olive oil, jojoba oil, a lot of other essential oils, no parabens, sulfate free. It's very, very good for your skin, okay? Only time your skin will get dry when using this lotion is when you're working out in the garden, like I do a lot without gloves. There are some of us, like Stacy from Hands in the Dirt, we like to get our hands in the dirt. Angela from Angela's Busy Bees Garden and Homestead. And I'm like that too. I like to feel what I'm working with. But I wear gloves, and all safety and sanitation precautions are followed when I'm making products. No glamorous hair. I have on a hairnet, lab jacket, what have you. Okay? So again, the special of the month for the month of May to May 30th to noon, May 30th, is the 8-ounce moisturizing creamy body lotion. And it's only $19.99. And you'll get a tracking from the post office when you can expect it. Okay. Because that's the first thing down. Number 2. The topics of tonight are going to be based upon your emails and your comments on my harvesting mixed turnips and mustards and cooking them, and a little 15 or 16 second video. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to put my Cash App if somebody wants to support my channel by making a contribution. We welcome that. That's how I pay for postage when I give things away free, and that's exactly what I'm going to do tonight. Before this live is over, somebody is going to win a mimosa tree that I started in January from seeds. And I'm going to put my Cash App there. And by the way, you cannot participate in the contest to win the mimosa tree unless you are a subscriber and that you reside in the United States or one of its territories. Okay? And also, I'm going to put my email up. If you want to contact me about business or something, or a topic of discussion, just know that it just depends on what I'm doing if I can get to your email right away. I hope you all take that into consideration and don't get upset when I can't respond right away, because you know I do a lot of things. The video that I'm going to upload tomorrow or Wednesday, I got to finish editing, is the one that I told you guys that I had a secret in my food forest. I had a secret. I was storing everything that I don't use and didn't have time to put in a proper place or to give away or whatever. I was storing it in the east side of my food forest at the back in front of the old raggedy shed that I've been having for over 31 years. It's rusted out and I'm going to pay somebody to move it, and everything that I have in it it could be valued to somebody, but they can take it. You know, you can't just keep harboring stuff and holding it. So I gave out 25-gallon buckets to a real good friend. You all probably can guess who it is because I don't talk to a lot of people because I'm so busy. And then I called a couple of people that live in the area and let them come and pick up some containers and stuff that was, broken, chipped, deteriorated from the sun because it's so hot in North Texas. I just threw them away. Okay? So for 2 weeks, Brian and Bria, and this past weekend, my other grandson, I have 2 grandsons, we call him Chewy. His name is Little Andre. His father's name is Andre. They came and wrapped it up, and we got that place spick and span. That place mean that area in my food forest that was housing all my junk. So I am thankful to God for grandchildren that are willing to help. And it was so funny. Let me just share this with you real quick. Bria has never liked beef. She doesn't eat hamburgers. She eats a fish sandwich or chicken sandwich or chicken nuggets. I don't know if it started when I wasn't eating beef, and I eat a little beef now. And because she was very young when I was a vegetarian for 8 months. And so yesterday was the first time I heard her say, "Oh no, I don't want any of that spaghetti because I'm vegetarian." I thought it was the cutest thing. And Brian said, "Well, save your meatballs for me. I'll eat them." And I said, "Bria, it's not beef, it's ground turkey." "Oh, I can have that." And guys, I didn't have the heart to tell her that ground turkey was not in the vegetarian diet. I think I let her mother and father tell her that. So I had to make some spaghetti and with my own homemade pasta sauce. I got a video on it. If you look at my canning playlist, I grow tomatoes to make pasta sauce, and I add garlic, a little onions, a lot of sweet peppers. Sometimes I've added mushrooms, and sometimes I have even added ground turkey so that I can have a quick meal in the jar that all I have to do is cook some pasta noodles for my grandchildren, and they absolutely love it. Okay, so Bria is a vegetarian that eats turkey. I just thought that was so cute. Thank you all, everybody. Hi, Tia. Hi, Mike Kromowski. Hi, Lorraine T. And I see that my moderators are asking you all to hit the like button. It really helps when you jiggle that algorithm. And Best Yet is here. I hope you all checked out her Whoop Whoop show. Best Yet, it's just a busy time for me on Monday. And I had just got back from the post office to make that drop before 5 o'clock, because that's when they come and pick it up and take it to the Central Post Office in Dallas. And Monday is a real busy shipping day for me, so I just couldn't do it. Couldn't make it. But I will, like always, I will always go back and watch your replay, Best Yet, and make sure that I hit that like button and leave a comment, because that stimulates the algorithm. But that's one of the other things that my son was telling me that that's just too hard on you, Mama. And I try to sit there and watch the games and listen to what people say, but I've just made up my mind I can't do no live right before or attend a live right when I'm getting ready to do my live, because I need to get my thoughts together and cleaning everything else off my desk. So I hope you understand Best Yet. And somebody, please, moderators, put Best Yet's link to her channel up. And in fact, if I fail to mention, put somebody's channel up and I call their name out, I ask my moderators to do it. For example, I already called out Stacy from Hands in the Dirt, like to work with our gloves. Put his name in the chat, his channel, and also Angela's Busy Bee Garden and Homestead. And if I call anybody else out, you have my permission to put that in the chat. Hey, Lavender for Luck, thank you for being here. And I'm going to give a big kiss to anybody that I missed. That goes out to all of you. Okay, so I talked about the special. I talked about I can't do the lives on Monday night. It's just too hard. I gave you my Cash App if you want to donate to the channel. And I gave you my email if you have a topic of discussion that you would like for me to research and talk about it. You can email me. But please don't email me regular questions unless I ask you to, because it's so hard. They're coming in too many of them are coming in now, guys. So I'm asking you to email me for business unless I ask you to email me. Okay, let's talk about the classes. We've got May 15th at noon. The classes are always on a Sunday. They're always at noon, and that's Central Time. And the class that's coming up is How to Make Organic Healing Honeys with the Lady Cheryl. So if any of you are a member of my Make Your Own Products Perk Club, you are entitled to attend this class absolutely free. If you are not a member, the class is $50. And your cameras must be on where I can see you, see the light bulb go off and answer your questions. Okay? And I'm pretty sure I put it up on the community board. If I didn't, I'll do it again. I'll put one up probably this week and next week until the class. And the next class after that is for people that are in the group Eat Your Own and people who are in the Make Your Own group. You can attend pressure canning with Lady Cheryl. You will actually be pressure canning. I would advise you what videos you need to watch, all the equipment that you need. You will get a correspondence letter from me and what you'll be canning. And I'll give you a couple options. And that class is May 29th. I'm going to check again. Yes, always on the Sunday, 12 o'clock noon. And we have to be off of Zoom by 2 o'clock. So if I say your jars must be packed, meaning that your food has to be in the jar, but not the lid and the ring on it before you log on to the Zoom class, we're not going to wait for anybody because Zoom is going to cut me off at noon. So if you've been thinking that you want to pressure can, you just haven't had all your equipment, trust me, once you start pressure canning, you're never going to stop because you're going to see how much money you save and how healthy the food is because you've grown it or you know what's in it. And you do not panic every time you see a video about people starving or running out of food and that type of thing, because you will be well prepared. And that's what we do as gardeners. We prep. We don't panic. We prep. So we are prepared when inflation hits or companies, especially in urban brown and black communities, decide they want to price gouge. We don't panic because we got a lot of food stored, healthy food, okay? All right, I hope my message is coming across as not judgmental. Okay. And by the way, the honey class that I'm teaching, it's the same honeys that I make. So why are you showing us what you make and sell on your website? Because I won't be able to do it forever. I can't take all this knowledge with me. My mission, my purpose in life is to help motivate, inspire, and educate people. So I'm going to share with you what I do. And when you find out what type of honey I use and how expensive it is and how you can obtain organic ingredients even if you don't grow them, you understand why my stuff is priced the way it is. I've been seeing a lot on the internet lately about, and it's the same voice, and everybody's using it, and I don't know where to get it from, but I want it so bad. The guy's saying, if you gotta ask me how much my price is, well, maybe my stuff isn't for you. If you gotta call around, I saw one all around town asking how much I charge for this or charge for that, then maybe you need to go somewhere else or whatever. But you guys are gonna know that you're gonna get some of the highest quality honey and the freshest organic ingredients when you place that order with me. And when you're in the class, I'm going to share with you what companies do to honey to sell it for a real cheap price. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. You cannot get a gallon of honey for $11. You're getting sugar and corn syrup. That's a part of my class. I digress. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Auntia, looking ashy, feeling dry. You best get some of Lady Cheryl's lotion. Check it out, the special here. Thank you, Auntia. And best your journey since she'll be in the class. All right. So that eat your own is when you're going to be pressure canning, grow your own, you get some seeds. Each, and it's $2.99 a month, $4.99 a month. I do all kind of preservation. And that leads me to something that I'm going to talk about freezing seeds, because I got a lot of email on that. What was I going to say? Oh, and make your own $9.99 a group, a month. And you can leave at any time after you've taken all the classes you want to take. You're not offending me or YouTube if you downgrade or leave the perk clubs altogether. Please look in my eyes and know that I'm sincere when I say this. You do not offend me when you downgrade or if you leave the perk groups. You've got what you wanted to get. Okay? And I appreciate that. James Franklin, how you doing? Odom's Homestead in the house. Thank you. TLC in the garden. And I think I spoke to everybody else. But we have a good time. I don't hold nothing back. I'm not one of those people that's going to instruct the class and leave out the really good stuff. Because I don't want you to compete with me. You can't compete with me. The people that I know, my circle, my clientele, are not your clients. So why shouldn't I help you? I don't compete with nobody. The only person I compete with is me. How can I make my honey better? How can I make my lotion creamier? And I've been making this stuff since 1995. The honey's about a year. But my mainstay of my, I was going to say repertoire, but my inventory, I've been perfecting it and working on it and working on it and working on it since 1995. Really, I started in 1992 before I launched the line when I was going through chemotherapy and radiation therapy for breast cancer when I had the lump removed. And I couldn't use the ointments and creams and stuff the doctors prescribed because I'm allergic to a lot of stuff. and Abdullah Lala, who is the on-staff chemist for E.F. Young Jr. Manufacturing, who I apprenticed under after I graduated from beauty college. I called him and told him what I was going through, and he told me what to put together to make a natural serum or a natural cream, and then I just started giving it to people when they had skin problems. Seborrhea, eczema, sunburns, allergic rashes, that type of thing. And I just would give it to people. And then they said, you know, you really should sell this. I said, yeah, people be telling me that all the time. And then I finally launched the line. So what I'm saying is this: I perfected as far as I can go, I think, with my product line. So I don't have to compete with nobody. You know, you're going to sell what you want to sell. And you're going to have people who are going to test it out that are not going to be yes ma'am and no ma'am type of girl or man. And they're going to tell you their honest opinion on how you can improve it. When I introduce a new product, the first person I ship some of it to is my sister. I only have one sister. I have sister-in-laws like sisters. And so people in my life that are like sisters to me. But my blood sister, same mama, same daddy, she gonna tell me like it T.I. is. And she has helped me tremendously. And yes, she is one of my customers. And yes, she orders the product and don't think I'm supposed to give it to her free. Yep, that's my sister, Georgette Tally Moss. We both married 2 cousins, and we both are widows now. Okay, let's go and see what's going on in the chat. Life Can Be Beautiful is here. Odom's Homestead. Hey, and Dale, thank you for being here. Okay, I'm going to go into my notes. I talked about the clubs. The seeds have already gone out, the seeds of the month. And right now, I'm going to let anybody who is a member of any of the 3 groups, and if you're not and you're a moderator, only these people, a moderator that has a blue wrench by their name or a emoji signifying that you're in one of my 3 groups, please put your YouTube channel up, or one or the other, your TikTok, Instagram, Facebook group. Did I leave out anything? I don't think I did. Put them in the chat right now. I publish all of my chats because I want people to come back and view the chat and get information off of here. Okay? Thank you, Grandmama Groves, for putting the Perk Club up. And anybody who has a question, I'm asking that you hold your questions until the moderators let you know when it's time. Yes, you see right here, you see Best Yet Journey. All you do is click on that after this chat is over, after it's published. It takes about an hour or 2. And then YouTube will publish it and you can go back the next morning and look. Sometimes I go back when I'm making products or doing something or working in the garden. I go back and I replay my own chat. And that's why I know I got a senior citizen brain. And because sometimes if I make, say, a fork for a spoon or something like that, I don't even worry about trying to correct that because I know you all know I'll be 68 years old in a few months. Got a lot on my brain. Joyce L. Moore, no websites. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and of course your YouTube channel. The reason why I don't do websites, because anybody would just come in here and put their website on. Not you. I know that's not you. But I have to have some guidelines to follow. Because a lot of people don't have etiquette, proper home training. There's just certain things I know not to do. Thank you, Andale, for putting my website up. And the sales have gone up for the special since I extended it for the week, and I'm sure it's going to go up now that I've extended it for the month, because those will make some really good Mother's Day gifts. Now, my son is a real smart guy. Hey, at home with Cherie, thank you so much for being here. My son is a very smart guy, but we don't agree on everything. But this is one of the things that I agree with him, how to free up my time so that I can get the proper rest. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start talking about my topic while you all are still putting things in the chat. I think I don't know, I got my air conditioner on. And I can feel it, because there's a vent right there. But it's kind of warm in here. Oh, you know what it is? It's humid. It's not so hot, it's humid. We had really bad thunderstorms. No tornadoes, but I can hear the hail beating up against my window pane. And it wasn't large size hail. And I still have some water in my front yard. But my house is, ranch style house is kind of up a little bit. And so I've been here 31 years, Easter. And I never had any water to come into the house. But that rainwater is very, very healthy for our plants, our garden. It brings a lot of oxygen and nitrogen to the plants, and everything just explodes with growth. So, yeah, everybody's orders went out. And I will be announcing next week the seed of the month. Okay, let me get back to my notes. I did the Zoom meetings. Okay, I'm ready. I got 3 things that I'm going to talk about. Actually, I already talked about one. Cleaned up that junk, that eyesore in my food forest. I'll share it either tomorrow or the next day in a video. Somebody's going to win a mimosa tree. So I'm going to start by talking about it first. The flowers are edible. I haven't done enough research to tell you all the benefits from it. I particularly started growing it because I thought it was pretty. It can be invasive because it has a long taproot. So watch where you put it around your city water lines and drainage lines. Now, everything where I live is in the front yard as far as water pipes and all that kind of stuff and drainage. It goes to the front. So I'm blessed that I can plant almost anything anywhere I want to in my backyard, except for where the house came with a French drain. When we have a real rainy season, it draws the water out to the alley. Okay, so when I be sitting with stagnant water. So I put my mimosa trees, because it can be invasive, toward the back north side of my food forest. These trees grow 36 inches or more a year, and mine are very tall. And they don't have to be grafted or anything. They grow super fast. Like I said, 36 inches a year. In about 5 years, you're going to have an enormous tree. So if you're fortunate enough to win one of these, I recommend that you don't put it near your foundation so that it won't grow into. And another thing about my sore spot in my food forest, you're going to see that I had 2 weed trees. And you're probably thinking like, well, why didn't she cut them down? Why didn't she treat them, whatever? It's a lot of work what I do. A lot of people are amazed when they come over here and they see how much I have and what I do. I kind of let that go. But I'm going to share with you all in a future video how I'm going to get that stump out of the ground without even drilling it or having a professional to come. I got a brother who's real good with that kind of stuff, and he told me what to do. So the mimosa trees are hummingbird attractors, and a lot of other pollinators like them because the flowers look like a silky oriental flower. Mine has not flowered yet. It'll be this year or next year. You guys know, as a general rule, when you grow something from a seed, it takes a little bit longer for it to produce fruit. So I'm going to play a little game at the end of the live, and you have to be a subscriber. And if you're not a subscriber, you can't get in the chat. And you have to live in the United States or its territories in order for me to afford to send you the tree. Now, let's talk about turnips. That's the other thing on my list, and a couple other things. People wanted to know, why didn't I just pinch off the turnips when they were trying to bolt and grow them a little bit longer? Number one, I don't grow turnips in the spring. I don't grow too many greens other than Swiss chard, and it's rainbow Swiss chard that can tolerate the heat here in Texas. Okay, when it's 105, 108, blah, blah, blah. Most of the greens I have learned, they bolt too fast, so why waste my time growing them in the spring? I usually grow them in the fall and all during the winter, most of the winter. But this year, because I have been experimenting with lowering my carb and calorie intake and substituting the turnips for potatoes, I decided to grow some, and I knew I was going to have a short window. And I told myself, okay, Lady Cheryl, when they start bolting, take them out. And that's what I did, okay? So that is why I took my turnips out, because people were telling me they grow in turnips. Okay, that's cool, and you might be in a zone where you can grow them. You can grow cabbage and broccoli and all that. I can't. I grow it in the fall and winter because it bolts too fast. Turnips, ideally, and I was researching this, I'm glad you have to look at my notes. They thrive between 40 and 70 degrees, 70. So you all know it's way past 70 degrees where I live. So that is why I pull them. And I'm not being defensive, but I got just too many emails like I don't know what I'm doing. But, you know, people have a right to ask. So that's why I did it, because it's way over 70 degrees. We've had a couple days in the 90s. And that's a whole lot of degrees higher than 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? But I have learned that I can grow rainbow Swiss chard even in triple-digit temperatures. So I was going through my seeds, and I'm going to share that with you because that was the most email that I got, was how do I freeze the seeds? So if you're in here and you're waiting on that, I'm going to share that with you, what I do. But before I go there, I see the feed is moving fast. Let me click Tiny Texas Garden. I know where you are, Tiny Texas Garden. Those things bolt quickly where you are too. And Dale says she would love to grow turnips. It's a different taste of the greens for me, is what Grandmama grows say. Yeah, I know what you mean, because the tender greens, Grandmama grows, I agree with you, the tender greens taste better. Collards and cabbage taste better to me when it's been kissed by a frost. It gets sweeter. But the turnips, they don't taste bitter when they're young and tender. And I love it. And I didn't add anything to my greens. And it's kind of weird, though. People always ask me to make videos about cooking, but nobody watches them. I'm not complaining. I didn't do that for likes. I did that because I just wanted to do it. Since I was gathering some greens and washing them and cooking them, I thought I would do it. And, but a lot of people don't watch my cooking videos. But anyway, they taste a little sweeter. You don't have to put, okay, let me just back it up and say this. When I'm cooking an old, mature turnip green, I add a little vinegar to my pot liquor. Y'all know what that is, right? That's the little juice that it makes. I add just a little twinge of vinegar because they have a more spicier turnip taste, if that's a word. turnip taste. But when you're dealing with tender greens and they haven't been out in the food forest that long, you don't have to add that. And you don't have to cook them long. And you don't have to doctor them up with a whole lot of red crushed pepper flakes and black pepper and all that stuff. Just the seasoning that's in the smoked turkey wings or turkey legs gives it a delicious flavor. I ate the rest of them today. Okay? And boy, they taste good. It's just, there's just a different taste in fresh homemade greens. And we had been harvesting those turnip greens, making wraps, me and Bria. I do like a tuna salad and wrap it up in the turnip greens and mustard greens. Try them when they're tender, and you'll see you can cut those carbs out. Okay, Grandma Gross says she's finally eating some Swiss chard, rainbow Swiss chard. It's so delicious. My daughter said she had no idea that they taste that good. It tastes like a sweet cabbage to me. And when they're real tender, I can chop them up or cut them up real, shred them, and put them in a salad. I can eat it just like that. Okay, I would love to grow some turnip green. I already said that. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you, At Home with Cheryl. Thank you. I didn't even see you here. That put in the perks members where you can join. Okay, and Brown Sugar Homestead. I see Bob Brownlee is speaking to you, and Veggie Farm Garden. Thank you for being here. And Siobhan Jones and Duval City Girl Gardener is here. Okay, so I talked about the greens and why I harvested them, because they were bolting, because they don't like a temperature over 70 degrees. And by the way, when you put them out in the dead of winter and they grow real slow, you already know the answer to the question. They grow best between 40 and 70 degrees. So if it's 30 or 20 where you live and they're barely moving, just hang on in there. They will continue to grow once the temperatures become more favorable. In the case of turnips, between 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 70. Okay? Very good. Now, let me go back to my notes. The next thing I want to talk about is my patty pan squash. I got a lot of email on that one. On how many did I put in the extra large Keter elevated raised bed? I put 4 plants. And I put some zinnias to attract pollinators in there with it. And I also put a lot of basil to disguise the scent of the squash. Because you can smell squash. You can smell squash, even the seedling, when you are germinating them, as soon as the water hits the potting soil, you can smell it. So God's little creatures, those squash bugs and those squash borders that tunnel in the long little stems of your plants, they can smell it too. So that's why I companion plant and put other things in there like marigolds, zinnias, and basil to try to distinguish the smell. But I saw one squash bug already. I couldn't kill it. I wasn't fast enough. Because squash bugs are quick. When you come near it, let's pretend this is the leaf. It's on the top. It'll do like this real quick and get under the bottom. And I couldn't get in there and get it. But I used the BT. And you all know what that is. I don't have any over here on the desk. But you can Google it. BT for caterpillar worms and that type of thing and squash bugs. It'll help kill it. Okay? So that patty pan squash, because I have been getting an epidemic of squash bugs in my food forest. And that's why I say never again. Because I said I'm going to cool it and I'm not going to do any patty pan squash. I'm not going to do any summer squash. I'm not going to do any butternut squash for a while. I kept some seeds that were heirloom and I had been saving them for years. But most of them, I gave them to you all during contest. Cucumbers is another one I said I wasn't going to grow. So I'm going to stop saying that. And just because something gives you a challenge, you don't need to stop growing it altogether. You might want to wait a couple of years because those squash bugs will go dormant and go way down in your soil and hide and come out when the conditions are more favorable. And another thing I noticed, if you don't have what that non-beneficial insect likes, it's still going to survive. If you're tired of eating peanut butter and jelly, you're not going to starve to death. You're going to try to make that peanut butter and jelly a different way or do something else because you're going to survive. So what I learned was that the squash bugs attacked my sunflowers. They started eating the sunflower seeds. So I hadn't had no squash in the garden for a couple of years, or cucumbers. And so if they don't get what they want, they're going to find something else to eat to survive. For example, how many of you in here remember me telling you that I found a tomato hornworm on a pepper plant? You can be protecting your tomato plants with the black light. I have that little violet light, and I go out there in the middle of the night. I scared a couple people because they say, Lady Cheryl, you need to be going out there at 2 and 3 in the morning, but I have a privacy fence. Not saying that anything bad can't happen to me, but they would have to jump over that fence and everything and get in here. But I go out there real early in the morning, I flash that little light, and I kept looking for my tomatoes, but I didn't check the peppers. Tomato hornworm. Found it on the peppers. And actually, I didn't find it. Bria found it. It's a tomato hornworm on the peppers, Big Mama. I said, where? And she grabbed it. She could pick up a slug. What's that one that turns into a June bug? Grub. Earthworm. She picks up the earthworm and throws them in the garden beds. She knows that's where I don't even have to tell her what to do with it. And she's going to relocate a hornworm, slug, or a grubworm. I don't have any chickens or anything, so I can't give it to them. But that little girl, you ain't going to tell her nothing about gardening. Teach them while they're young. My love of gardening started with my grandparents. My Big Mama. And my mother was called Big Mama, and I'm the Big Mama in this generation. And I picked collard greens and snap peas. I tell people all the time, green beans. That's what our Snapchat was. We didn't have these filters and internet and computers and all that. We sat on the front porch with Big Mama just snapping peas and just talking, and she would just give us stories about life. And I'm going to share something with you all that I noticed yesterday. Last Saturday, when everybody was over here, there was a little boy who was a cousin to one of my grandchildren, but he wasn't related to Brian and Bria. And Bria was the only girl, so I told her, come and sit right here and let the boys eat by the bar, breakfast nook right over there, because you're a girl and you only be eating with them boys. I believe in teaching kids when they're young. Some children do stuff because they don't know no better, all up under boys and all that stuff. Well, Chewy, little Andre, yesterday it was just him, Brian, and Bria. He said, can I sit by you today, Big Mama? And I said, yeah. So he felt some kind of way because I had Bria to sit by me the week before because I didn't want her sitting over there with the boys. It was 3 boys. 3 boys. He felt a certain way. And he asked, could he specifically sit by me? And I let him. So while we're teaching our children and grandchildren, just be mindful that they could be sensitive and they may not understand why you do certain things that you do, so you have to explain it to them. And he is a very affectionate young man, little young boy. When he holds me and give me a hug, when he get ready to go, he act like he don't want to let go. I know my grand angels love me without a shadow of a doubt. And it just melted my heart when he said, can he sit by me? And I'm going to show you what he was sitting on. These little stools. So he was sitting up higher than me. And then he remembered when he and his sister came during the summer and they did a Monday night live chat with me. One was on either side. I don't know if any of you are in here. And he says, I had so much fun when we did that. Can we do it again? I told him yes. But Monday's a school night, so we have to wait until you're out of school. So don't think that they're not paying attention to you. Don't think that they're not learning. And don't think that they're not sensitive. They may not show it. But some kind of way they're going to let it be known. So Chewy, I call him Chewy. He sat right next to me while Brian and Bria ate their lunch in the kitchen. Okay, I'm going to go to the chat. Hi, Siobhan Jones. And Andale is saying we need to get those likes up. Yes. Okay. Hey, Growing with Hudson. Okay, so now I went over that, teaching while they're young. The patty pan squash, the reason why I hadn't grown it in a while, is doing wonderfully well. I'm checking out it on it. Y'all saw my community post. I inspect my food forest like a drill sergeant. I put them leaves up. I'm looking for squash bugs. Got my spray to see if I have to spray it again. And that reminds me that I want to tell you that I used to tell you don't spray the neem oil with a little dish soap in it when the temperatures are 85 degrees or above. But I learned that this season, with all the high winds and wind gusts that we have, 45 miles an hour, knocking over plants and stuff, I saw some damage from that neem oil. So I'm going to change that for my garden and amend what I say. For me, I'm not going to use it once it's over 80 degrees. Because the wind spread some of the, I was spraying the fruit trees. And the wind gust sprayed it on the patty pan squash, some of the beans. So they got like a little sunburn. But I knew what it was. As soon as I saw it, I said, that doggone wind. I protected my face with my hat and my big old glasses. And I had my mask here and the mask here, just a little bit out of my eyes. But I didn't protect my plants. I should not have sprayed when that wind was that high. So you live and you learn. And there's a little damage on some of my leaves, but it'll go away. It'll go away. Okay, so yeah, I got the patty pan squash seeds out, and I put them on the counter. People want to know what did I do. And I'm going to show you in a minute how I freeze them. And I let them thaw out at room temperature. And then I planted them in my peat pellets. Okay? Now, this is how I freeze them for the season. I've shared this with you all before. I have 3 of these. And I label everything and the date and the year. And if it is the 2nd generation, 3rd generation, 4th generation. For example, this is the 15th generation of my Volcan Swiss Chard. I've been growing it for a long time because I can grow it several seasons. And so what I do is I put like or similar plants together. I group them together. And then I take this saran wrap and I wrap them up real tight. Now, I'm not going to do it because this is self-explanatory. This cling wrap. Then I take a Post-it note and I put it visible where you can see it, what's in there. If not, you just be throwing seeds out everywhere trying to find them. The next thing that I do is I put them either in baggies or I use these. I saw somebody with these and ordered them online on Amazon. And they are more durable because it has 3 grooves in here to Ziploc. And they're made from silicone so they would last longer. So you can see if I have, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Let's say I do some curly kale, some collards, some regular 1,000-head kale. Well, that's a lot of seeds. And some Swiss chard. And I'm going to pick this up in a minute. And then I wrap it real good, because you got to consider if you have a power outage, you don't want stuff to thaw out and get wet. Okay, so you can wrap this up real good. And you can wrap it twice if you want. And then you just put it here. And you can see how many I can get in here. I can put a lot in here. And then you just zip it up. And it's like a Ziploc, but it has 3 different tracks. So, and you want to squeeze the air out. And get as much air out as you can. Okay, now, this is something else that I do. I have this, my COO, my oldest son, bought this for me for my birthday a few years ago. And it's a food saver. I'm not going to plug it in. You guys know that you lift that up there and you put your bag in here and then it goes, it takes all the air out of it and then you press for it to seal. You can do that too. Okay? And another thing you can do is, obviously this is my work area. This is how I seal my teas. You can use a Mylar bag. If you know you're not going to take something out, for example, after the summer, I know I'm not going to grow any more squash. So I can put it in a Mylar bag and then seal it. When this light comes on, and you get this at Amazon, you know that it's sealed. The main thing is you have to stop moisture from getting into your seeds. That's when they become not viable and won't germinate as well. And know this, the longer you freeze seeds, your germination rate is going to go down. So I think I sold about 10 patty pan squash seeds and I may have gotten 6 plants. But that's okay, because that's still 10-year-old seeds. And date everything. You have to be organized. You have to date everything. And you group, like I said already, like species or crops together so that you just won't be throwing everything out the deep freezer or the freezer. Okay. Are there any questions on freezing seeds? I'll look at the thing in a minute. Let me go back and look at my desktop. Any questions on anything that I've gone over about freezing seeds? They plant little flowers and have little buddings for the fairies to visit at night. They plant little flowers and have little buddings. No, James, it doesn't kill them. He said, I thought taking the air out of the bag would take the seeds. No. That's just sealing the bag up where moisture won't get inside. I'm a living witness that I have sucked the air out of my seeds and they were still viable. Now, my grandmother, she used Tupperware, and you know, they had like 2 big deep freezers, and she would put the saran wrap or a baggie and then put it in the Tupperware and just stack them. Okay? And I've also seen my grandmother put seeds in a mason jar and freeze them. The first person I saw make banana, used coffee grounds, and eggshell fertilizer was my grandmother. They didn't have a K-Pod or K-Peg or a little Mr. Coffee maker. They used the old-fashioned stainless steel with the little steel, y'all know what I'm talking about, with the little hose to drain and percolate the coffee on the stove. Then they moved to the plug-in, and she would take that little apparatus out and dip it and dump it into the coffee grounds. She kept it up under her sink with the top to the coffee on it. Eggshells, used coffee grounds, and banana peels. I said, what you doing that for, Big Bump? She said, oh, that's the best fertilizer. NPK. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Lavender Deluxe at 10 years and 6 germinated. I can live without. Of course. I didn't have to buy no seeds. I just took out butternut squash. They're about 5 years old. I'll plant them tomorrow. Where I put the turnips. I think I mentioned in the video, I'll probably put some squash in there. Since I've been on patrol for squash, and it's right outside my back door, in my patio kitchen garden, I think I'm going to try, yes, Lorraine T. I'm going to try some more squash. This is no different than a medicine bottle. This plastic. That's what I used, Lorraine, before finding these test tubes on Amazon. I use medicine bottles. And I still got a lot here to fill up. And is it okay to freeze them in the medicine bottles? Yes, ma'am. I still would do a second line of defense by putting some saran wrap, a baggie, or plastic container or something, okay? I still would do that. Okay, let me go back to my notes and see that I covered everything. Yes. Patty pan squash, turnips, mimosa trees, and the junk in my garden. Okay, so now I am ready for you guys to ask me any question. Oh, you all putting it in there already, the question marks. They're putting the question marks up. Auntie put it there. If you have any question, I'm ready for you. Okay, Dolores Toussaint, she didn't follow directions, but I'll answer your question. What are you actually putting the seeds in before you wrap? These are little test tubes. You can get them on Amazon. This whole little kit. I don't even think it's over $20. But you can use a medicine bottle. You can use anything. Any type of plastic or glass. But this is just a nice amount, of seeds that it would cover. Okay, I'm looking for these. Okay. James Franklin said, I do freeze my seeds. I have some in the freezer now, and many I've saved from last season. All right. Saving seeds is like printing your own money, guys. I always let some plants go to seed. And when I'm afraid that the plants may scatter the seeds everywhere with the wind, I take an organza bag and with a drawstring, you can get them from Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Walmart, whatever. And I put that on top of that seed head and draw that string. And then that way, if the wind blows it, your onion seeds or your collard seeds, or whatever you're doing, it would be in that bag, okay? Hello, Food by Faith. Thank you for being here. Miss Love, I just said, I told you the vacuum seal that my son bought me. I vacuum sealed them. Yes, you can. Is there a wrong way to freeze seeds? Yeah, put them in a container that's not airtight, James. Because that moisture will get in there with the drop of the temperature. Just make sure everything is airtight. That would be the only way that I would say is something wrong. And Dale says, do we need to freeze all our seeds? No, you don't need to freeze anything. It's just when you have a good collection, when you have a whole lot of seeds and you want to keep using them, I would recommend that you freeze some. I don't recommend that nobody freeze all of their seeds. It's just a long-term storage. If I knew that I wasn't going to grow any squash for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, then I'm going to freeze them. And squash seeds don't last long at room temperature. Or cucumbers. There are a lot of them. I didn't, make a list tonight. Okay. Pescatarian garden. Where's your question marks? Do you harden off the things in your greenhouse before you take the cover off? Yes. Pescatarian garden, do you remember me putting the 90% shade cloth up? I don't have to harden my stuff off anymore. I found a way to do it without working so hard. I take all of my seedlings, all 400 cups, went out to the greenhouse the last day in February. That's my goal, to get them out the house. And remember, I told you all this winter, I'm going to start all of my seeds in the greenhouse. If I see they're not doing well, I'll bring them in the house. But I'm going to try my best not to have these seeds in my house this year. But getting back to how I harden off my seeds, I take all of them out to the greenhouse the last day of February. Now, it's going to be different for your zone, because our last freeze day is like in the middle of March. And I have the means to heat up my greenhouse with either 2 electric heaters. I have a kerosene heater. I have rocket stoves. I have vintage lamps. I got a lot of stuff I can heat up my greenhouse, right? But the tables that I put my 400 cups last year, I blocked the windows or wherever the light was coming in from the top or the sides by clipping 90% shade cloth. And then after a week or so, I change it to 50%. Normally I do that. This year, I didn't have to. I went from 90% for a couple of weeks shade cloth to no shade cloth. And they worked out fine. Yep, it sure did. You can go back and look at my seed starting playlist. It'll be something like a new way to harden off your seeds without moving them in and out. That's a lot of work, if you have as much as I have. Hey, Cynthia, thank you for being here. Okay, if we don't have any questions, I'm going to end the live early tonight. Presbyterian said she couldn't find the question mark. No problem, sweetie. You had all caps. I'm not scolding you. You're fine. Okay, somebody is saying, G Mama Franklin wants to know how old were they? She must have frozen seeds, I'm assuming, and they did well. I'm assuming. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm going to end it up early if there aren't any more questions. And Grandmama Groves is telling Pescatarian Gardener that the red question mark is an emoji. So maybe you can type in question and it might come up. Let me try it. Excuse me. Question, Question. No, let's go to the emojis. And it says search, question mark, QUE. Yep, it comes up under question mark. Then you just copy it. Sure did. Whew. I don't know why I'm yawning. But when I copy and paste, it won't copy that question mark. Probably have to do it on my phone. Okay, do you have one or two or many? Growing with Hudson's talking to somebody else. Thank you, everybody, for coming to Lady Cheryl's Live. She appreciates you. I sure do. Oh, James Franklin said I have some pumpkin seeds and I want to keep them as long as I can. Yes, sir. Any suggestions for a blueberry tree that do not produce? T, you go up next time, put your question in all caps. I'm just happy I saw it. You need to have a lower pH, an acid pH. around 5.5 for azaleas, mulberries, blueberries, raspberries. And there are several ways you can lower your pH. You can lower with pine shavings, or you can purchase an soil acidifier. I may have one here. Yep. Whenever I buy a new plant, you might want to screenshot this. It's called Acid Mix 436. This is an all-natural fertilizers for your berries. And even the package can be composted. Only time I use this is once a year when my berries are coming out of dormancy and when I buy a new plant. All of your berries. Okay? All right. And I need to put that right here so I can remember to put some on my berries tomorrow. Yes, James, I would freeze some. And if you're going to use them the next year, I would freeze some and I would not freeze some and see which one do the best. I've had my squash seeds to fail, to not germinate. And that's why I started freezing them like my big mama. You're welcome, Growing with Hudson. Brenda Allen asked, what is the best fertilizer for fruit trees? Comfrey, compost tea. That's all I give my fruit trees, except for the citrus trees. Because the citrus trees are new, because I lost them in the hard freeze. So all of my citrus trees are new. Like I want to get a new plant. But I don't use this. I use the, and this is heavy, because I only used it one time. Citrus Mix. Made by the same company with the Acid Mix. I only put some on it one time because my trees are not a year old. Yeah, actually they are a year old. They died in 2020 and I bought them. They died in 2021 and I bought them that March. But I don't use this but once a year. Then I use comfrey tea and compost tea. The most, in my opinion, the best fertilizer you can give any plant in your food forest or your garden or any tree is compost, homemade compost, compost tea, or comfrey tea, or chop and drop tea. Okay? And then once your plants become established, you won't need this anymore. Unless you give it something like once a year. And that's the truth. I lost mine with seasoning salt. Roast. Mine with seasoning salt and black pepper. How do you do yours? Somebody said they use down-to-earth products too. I've heard that it's very good. The citrus mix and the acid mix is off of Amazon. And you can look at these boxes and tell they full. I don't use a lot of it. I'm probably not going to ever have to use that citrus mix again. Okay, so that's it, everybody. I want to make sure I get everybody's question before I leave. And Auntie says she have seen them at the local plant stores. I have Prime shipping, so I just be saving money. I just let it come to my door. And then I use the box. I let the boxes go flat, and I put them. You'll see in the video, me, Brian, and Bria putting some cardboard down. That's how I get all my boxes. That's how I save wear and tear on my body and my car, running to go pick up stuff that I can have delivered. Now, unless it costs more. You know, if it costs more, then I'm gonna go someplace else. But I price compare. Hey, Siobhan Jones, I comparison shop, and yeah. Hudson got the Citrus Mix 633, very good. Because when I started using certain organic, I'm trying to think of the name. Is it Dr. something? And when I started using a lot of liquid fertilizers, I kept running into fire blight on my trees. So when I peeled back and I just started using compost tea, and I started using comfrey fertilizer tea, I stopped having all those trees to go bad on me. Oh, there's something else I want to talk about. I had 2 stellar fruit trees that I got from Stark Brothers. It is my favorite company to deal with. And now, you know, they always offered 100% guarantee, but now they're offering 125%, 125%. So I had 2 stellar cherry trees that did not come out of dormancy. And I contacted them. How do I say this without saying anything bad? Whoever I talked to, they assumed I didn't know what I was talking about. So I had to cut them off and let them know that I had peeled the bark back below the graft, above the graft, at the top of the tree, middle of the tree, bottom of the tree. There's no life. There's no green past that candium layer. And they refunded the money. You can get it refunded back on your debit or credit card, or you can get credit. I chose the credit. And because they had a good sale on their bare root trees, I took the credit and purchased 3 Asian pear trees that have the XL root stock, so they are much larger. Let me go get one and show it to you, because I'm going to have to plant these trees. Excuse me for a second, I'm going to go get that tree, but I got to move my stuff out the way. So you can see how humongous the root stock is. And this white is the indicator that it is the supreme tree, standard supreme tree, and it's called a Hosu Asian pear. And it's been professionally pruned. And you can see it's budding out right here and here. Trying to be careful, and you can look on the root stock and you can see it's putting on roots, and they just came in today. I have 3 of them, so I'm going to be planting these. Unless I change my mind, I'm going to be planting them in containers the first year, and then they will go in the ground the next year. But we've had a lot of rain, so the ground may be real soft, but I know my area, my trees, the feet of my trees get too wet this time of year when they're sitting in a pool of water. So I prefer to put them in a container and put them on top of a crate so that the water can drain out and they don't rot. But I'm not going to put any type of fertilizer, no compost tea, no comfrey tea, nothing but Kellogg's organic potting mix. I picked it up Saturday from Home Depot, and it's in the car. And I'm just going to put those trees in. I don't even want them to concentrate on trying to put any fruit on for a couple of years. However, because of the girth of this tree and it's a larger size, it may put on some fruit. But if I see it's just 1 or 2, 3 pieces of fruit, I'm going to prune them and let them put on fruit the 3rd year. Just my experience, it does better when it's concentrating on building a strong root system. But I love Ison Nursery, and my favorite is Star Brothers. Okay. I'm making sure I don't have any more questions. I don't want to leave. I saw your video on potatoes, very nice. Okay. Yes, Antia, sometimes they just make assumptions and they don't know who they're dealing with. So when I sent the email, I sent close-up pictures of where I scraped the bark back. And I also sent them a little video of the front of my food forest with all the trees. 5 minutes later, I got a response. We have already created your account. You have no need to respond to this email. Then I went, I logged in, because you know they have a website, and you put your password and email address in there, and the credit was there. And then I looked at the sale, because I haven't looked at them anyway, and then I got those 3 trees. Yep, that's how it works. Oh, thank you. Best yet, the giveaway. I was getting ready to go. Everybody can play. Who is GWH? Y'all having these separate conversations, y'all throwing me off. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, let's play the game. Thank you. All moderators, everybody that's a subscriber can play, provided you live in the United States or one of its territories. I'm going to make this real easy. I'm going to write this number down. And I'd like to have Hudson or Andale to put start. Oh, growing with Hudson. Thank you. And you can't see me because I have my laptop there. Let's put the start. Get very good. Here we go. Here is the question. Pick a number between 1 and 365 days of the year. 1 and 365. First person to get it, I'll let you know. Thank you, best yet, letting y'all know it's a live chat. So y'all need to go. First person that puts the number down, I'm going with that. You will get that mimosa tree. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Nobody has the number. And life is worth the living just because he lives. Nobody has the number. So I'm going to, okay, I saw a winner. Stop. Stop, Bandale. Stop. I saw a winner. Stop, everybody. Stop so I can name the winner. I was thinking I wasn't going to get one. Did they put stop up here? Okay, Tiny Texas Garden put 99. That's the last one I'm going to take. 99. Some of you all feed. Girl with Hudson got it in there. The winner of the contest is, I got to go back and find them. I can't find you now because it still keep jumping, but I'll tell you who it is. It's someone who has a homestead. It's Odom Homestead. And the number, they got it exactly right, is 5. Now, if you all see somebody else with a 5 first, moderators, just let me know. But I saw Odom's Homestead. Congratulations to the, that's it. Somebody said Dr. Earth. I did use their stuff before. Are you all congratulating Odom's Homestead? I know I saw it. Can somebody highlight it for me? I know I saw it. It's still going by so fast. There it is. Odom's Homestead. Is there a discrepancy about anybody that won? Please go back home, Odom's Homestead and look at the replay or do your research and find out that you shouldn't put it near a structure, a shed, a garage, foundation of your home, sewage lines, drainage lines, that type of thing when you plant this, because you're going to be amazed at how fast this tree is going to grow. It's just ridiculous how fast it grows. Okay, so that's everybody. Hi, Veggie Farm Garden. Thank you for being here. Barb Brownlee, thank you for congratulating Odom's Homestead along with Lorraine T. Oops, I was about 20 seconds behind the live feed. Yep, because Tiny Texas Garden, I thought you were in the running because the first answer you gave was 2, which is pretty close. And Duval City Gardener and Tia Drum Gold, everybody is seeing it. And best yet, Gardening is asking me, did I see 15? No, I saw 5. Veggie Farm Garden is congratulating Siobhan Jones, J. Newly Natural, Abundant Acres. Okay, so you need to email me with your mailing address. No post office box, please. I don't send plants and seeds to post office boxes. And that's it, everybody. And Miss Lydia Best, thank you for reminding me, because I was getting ready to get out of here without doing the contest. Okay. All right. Goodbye, everybody. See you next Monday night. You know that I love you, and God loves you too. Take care.